So, Todd, we're talking about about an insurance claim. And, I get asked this a lot from our customers. What's the value of the contract to, this building owner, this commercial, building owner who's now has to file a claim? They've got this damage from storms. And, what does that look like? What's the value in it to the customer?
Sure. To begin with, the insurance company is technically not supposed to discuss the claim with anybody other than the building owner policyholder. So our contracts give them express written permission to discuss that.
It's a great thing to be able to do that. I get this question a lot. So we've been out, we verified damage. It's now time to file the claim. And, for us to be able to do that, that contract has to be in place to really look at the scope of work and what it took to get there. A lot of times it's a roof we already roofed. Maybe it's a roof we haven't roofed, but that process. So the contract just has some open limits. It doesn't have a defined scope of work yet. It doesn't have a dollar amount, and that can be confusing to the insured. What would you tell them? What would you tell me about that?
Sure. The contract basically says that we agree to do whatever work the insurance company agrees. So we'll fix whatever they think is damaged for whatever they say it should cost. Most insurance adjusters, when they come out, they really do try to do the best job possible. But because they're not in the construction industry, they're not up on the latest codes, they don't really know beyond what this roofing surface is, what's involved in getting it there. Most adjusters have never built anything, or if they have, it's been in the past.
Sure.
So they don't know what equipment is required to get it there. They don't know what certifications that we have to have in order to do it. They're not certain what's underneath that roofing surface, what kind of backers or insulation or so forth, and what the city inspectors are going to require of us. So it's our job to go out, meet with the insurance company, and walk through that whole process. Sometimes it can be very lengthy, and help the insurance company establish what all is necessary to make this happen and how we're going to dispose of the materials that come off. And we really can't put a number to it until the insurance company and ourselves have really walked through the process and determined exactly how that's going to be done and what it's going to cost.
Sure. I thought of a claim, from last year, and you do such a great job with estimating and all those things. We had one where the roof blew off, and we immediately had to tarp it. So we had to secure the contents of the building and really protect their best interest. And it was a week or so later. And so, people are always like, well, I just want an estimate. What does that look like? We can't see all those things. And so maybe you could tell us, kind of how that process, you have to define the damage, throughout. And so, maybe that first meeting with an adjuster, what does that look like? Because we maybe have to pull back a tarp, and there's way more than roof damage, because we also do traditional roofing and when people have to replace a roof when it is worn out. But storm damage is completely different, because it affects soffits and fascias and drip edge and gutters and so many different avenues. So maybe you could just kind of tell us that process.
Sure. In a process like that, oftentimes we have to pick a day where it's safe, and we take the coverings back off, and the insurance adjuster will want to see, well, how did this fail? And yes, this section of the roof blew off, but once we get up in there, we'll find that the fasteners on the roof all across there have been damaged. So really, it's not just this small section that's laying on the ground that's damaged by the wind, but it could be, a significantly larger portion of the roof. And then we have to go through, okay, so on this particular roof, now that this part is damaged, how do we tie it into the old part? Not every roof can you just hook it up. For example, on a standing seam, most of the time we have to do the entire roof slope in order to replace it, because when we go to tear the old roof off, it destroys the panel ahead of it.
Sure.
When we tear it off, and then when we take that one off, it destroys the one ahead of that. So we have to do the entire roof surface in order to get it back secure. Another thing that often happens is we do our best to go through and really analyze what's involved, and you know, even right down to we have to cover the contents in the building while we're working, or things of that nature. Maybe the business can't shut down, so we got to build a pedestrian walkway to get their customers in and out so they don't get damaged. But even though we do all that, sometimes when we get into the process, we'll find that there's other damage that we weren't aware of. So we have to halt the process, get a hold of the adjuster, and walk them through yet again, oh, what do we do about this? Or maybe there was rot in the building or something of that nature. What do we do? Now we can't repair it properly without fixing that. And we come to an understanding before we proceed.
Yeah.